Gemini.
Gemini, this is your forecast for that of September 2015, and the main focus this month will be the home area, and this is because you have the Sun, you got Jupiter, and also the new moon. So family matters might be a little bit more in the forefront focus. You might come to feel that you have a need to share more time with them, or they may be having a need to share more time with you. Some of you might be moving this month. This is a great time to do so because it's putting down the vibrations of your new home. Not only do you have the Sun here and Jupiter here, which means expansion of your space, but having the new moon here as well, it's fantastic. Yes, you will have the new moon here next year around this time in this area, but you won't have Jupiter there. So this is a perfect time to make a move for those of you who are thinking to do so. Now, it could also just be upgrading or beautifying your home or expanding, creating some add-on or transforming a room into something more. If you have, say, a bedroom not being used anymore, maybe now you can create it into a home office, something of that nature, which will serve a purpose of something that could really, in a practical way, expand your space. The new moon here this month, Gemini, will be on the 13th, and that's the time you want to put down your intention. It's also the time that you want to write that abundance check to yourself. And I do get questions: how do I write it out? When do I tear it up, or what do I do with it afterwards? You can find that on my website. There's also a video how to write it out. But yes, that can always help to expand our abundance, of course. But having it in your fourth house, this new moon is, the intention should be that you would like to spend more time, genuine time, where you and your family members can have that benefit of really sharing. Because yes, you know, your weeks get busy, their weeks get busy, and then we think it, but we really don't get together. And so right now, this is a beautiful, beautiful time to put down that intention, because family is so extremely important. Now, another fun aspect that we're having here this month is Venus and Mars here on top of the month. They are conjunct, and they will show up in your third house for communication. So you will find that you and your partner might come to some beautiful agreement here September 1st. Some of you might be out and about traveling, because that's what the third house also does. It loves to travel, not necessarily long distance like the ninth house, but it could indicate maybe just out of town for, you know, the day or so, or making plans for some travel, but you'll pretty much be on the same page. Those of you that are single, this would be the day you want to circle on your calendar to be out and about. You know, don't sit at home and think you'll find a relationship, unless, of course, you are on Match.com or something of that nature, which could be very true for quite a few of you, since it is in the third house. It is communication. And of course, Match.com is definitely a place where to communicate and meet. So that will work out for a few of you. Mars and Venus, though, being conjunct, they're in the sign of Leo, and Leo is a fire sign. Leos, they come from the heart, so you're going to feel your emotions are really running from the true center of love here this month in September. When it starts off top of the month, that conjunction, it will carry the energy with it throughout the month. So that's a nice thing to know. Mercury is going to be in your fifth house for love and romance, and so put that together here with Venus and Mars. Definitely a month here where you can communicate beautifully, openly with your partner. Some of you might also use this Mercury this month, since it's going to retrograde. It will retrograde from the 17th to October the 9th. Some of you might find that it's time to go back over some past issue, perhaps in your relationship. to see how you can tweak and balance out it. For that, we really love the retrograde, as it gives us a second chance to go back over and enhance some experience. Some of you might even feel perhaps that it's time to reconnect with somebody of your past, maybe a past relationship, to heal or to create more so a complete closure. If you felt that that relationship in the past kind of just dissolved out of nowhere unexpectedly, and if you're still lingering, wondering why, well, then this Mercury retrograde would help you resolve that. On the 8th, we have some unexpected situations coming in from Mars, being trine Uranus, and we love that Uranian surprise, the unexpected. It really kicks into action here, and Mars is your action and Uranus the unexpected factor. Mars being in your 3rd house, communication, travel, interaction with, and Uranus being in that 11th house for your hopes and dreams. I'm feeling that that will open up a new doorway, perhaps, or maybe a new suggestion, or it could be a proposal of sorts. It could be a new whatever option or opportunity. So you'll have to see, especially any interactions with groups right now can be beneficial for you, any organization, or it could also come from some friend that might surprise you with some insights. Now that 3rd house where Mars is also your closer community where you live. It's also the interaction that you have with your siblings. So you might see that this might be a very nice time for you to interact with them or catch up. And in busy, hectic lives, you know, it's important that we remind ourselves now to go in and, you know, kindle that fire, right? 9th of September, this is an important date because why? Well, Mercury here, Mercury which rules your communication, your linear mind, how you think and communicate, is in the 5th house for love and romance, and your creativity, your self-expression. Now it's going to square off on Pluto. Pluto wants to transform something that Mercury hasn't been too happy about. So let's put it this way. If you've been thinking about something that hasn't really been flowing for you, well, this retrograde of Mercury will allow yourself to take your Pluto to transform it. So if it hasn't been expressed before, it's going to come up now. And what is the issue? The issue is your mutual resources between you and your partner. Is how balanced does that look? Is it balanced? If it's been unbalanced and you've been carrying the load, well, then you haven't been too happy about it, have you? This is going to allow you now to bring it up and to pinpoint the issue. Hopefully you'll find some resolve. Maybe you won't. Maybe there might be a little resistance or a little defense mechanism going on there because it is Pluto and it is square. But then again, you know, don't give up on it because the retrograde is going to bring a second encounter of the same issue, the same square on the 24th. So it's given up to a couple of weeks there to think about things. Your partner will have thought about it. If your partner is the one who's bringing up this conflict, well, you've had time to think about it as well. So you'll re-encounter it on the 24th, whatever the conflict or the challenge on the 9th is. So be aware of those two dates because the second time around, under this retrograde now, Mercury not only will re-encounter it, but it will have the energy of the Mars square Saturn. Mars really wanting to get on with it. It will put more fire, shall I say, into the furnace. And Saturn wants things to be square and fair. Saturn wants stability, it wants security. Saturn now having moved into your 7th house. So it's definitely, I feel, something within your relationship. Saturn's going to be in this area now for the next 2.5 to 3 years. And it's just moved in to your 7th house here on the 17th. And so by the second square of Mercury to Pluto, it's definitely pinpointing right here is where the issue lays. And so you might want more balance from your partner. How much are you giving as opposed to your partner giving? So I feel, challenges aren't always negative. They might not be comfortable right there and then, but challenges are actually opportunities. And we want to take those opportunities when they come to us so that we can process through and work through those things that are important. And especially since both Mars and Saturn are present the second time around, Mars is good because it's in the third house of communication, so you get the power of communication on your side. Saturn being on your seventh house, that is your partner. I'm feeling here, it might be a little tug of war. So it's going to be important to listen as much as you speak. So you're not just, pouring out, but listen to what your partner is saying. That's where Saturn is. That will give you a fair balance of where both of you can adjust, the scales. And then that will set you off on a good 3-year journey because it's the entry of the Saturn right now. That's why it's going to be super important, especially for you Geminis. Once that is all said and done though, it's all about where do you see yourself in the long term in your relationship? How do you feel you can tweak it so it could be a beautiful experience, not just for you, but equally for your partner. When your partner feels this, of course, then that partner will be looking back at you and saying, I agree, this is what we should do. So it's a beautiful, beautiful opportunity. So don't back off when the challenge is there. You might lose this window of opportunity. That being said, we have a few events going on too here this month, and its Venus has been retrograding straight through that of August. It will turn direct on between the 6th or 7th. It all depends on where you live, which time zone. Venus now in your third house in Leo, well, it's going to pick up speed. You're going to feel that energy of love and romance and things that you desire, and your self-worth too. It's all those inner values are going to be moving forward, preparing itself to go into the 4th house of family a little bit later. On the 17th, Mercury turning retrograde until October 9th, and it will be retrograding in this area of love and romance, but also self-expression, those things that are important to you. Also your creativity. There might be a lot of issues coming up here now where you can, should I say, redo, rework, refine those things that now, when Mercury moves direct again in October, can actually really take on wings and go with it. It's also the area of the businesses that you own, or also your children. So having Mercury retrograde, thinking about children, there might be situations now with them where focus is going to be important to work things through here regarding them as well. Saturn, like I mentioned, on the 17th, moving out of your 6th house, where it's been the last 2.5 to 3 years, been putting a little bit more responsibility on your shoulders, on your day-to-day life routines and so forth. This is now going to start lifting. If you feel your health has been dragging a little bit due to Saturn, that should be lifting too. Now you're starting off a 3-year cycle, 2.5 to 3 year cycle, more responsibilities as far as relationships, not just with your significant other, but also how you interact with those people closely to you, one-on-one. Mars is going to be moving out of Leo on the 25th, out of that 3rd house of travel, being busy on a day-to-day routine. Now from the 25th, focusing on home and family members, where and how you live. Real estate might be coming into the picture a little bit more. Those of you who haven't yet moved, thinking about moving, you'll see action being picked up here, coming out of the month into October. Even if you're not moving, you might have repair work that needs to be focused on. that you've kind of been putting off over here on the shelf, well, now would be the time to start mending those things. Mars will help you, give you that extra energy to focus there. Then we have Pluto is going to go direct. Pluto has been operating here in your 8th house of shared resources, transforming how you're looking at your secondary security of income, not your month-to-month income. That's more the 2nd house. The 8th house is more your 401ks, it's your investments, it's money that you share with your partner, or it could be inheritance, or say money coming in through lawsuits, that kind of thing. Commissions, royalties. Okay, so Pluto now, if you've been waiting for a payout that's been slow and long time coming, you might see now after this month that it's going to start picking up speed, coming to the surface a little bit easier towards you. So that is a good thing. 13 degrees in Capricorn there. So then we have the new moon, full moon, just a little bit about that before we end up things. 13th of this month, you will have the new moon in your area of home and family, and we did talk about that this is the time to put down your intentions for the full coming year. It's also the time for your abundance check. The full moon, 4 degrees in Aries this month, will show up in your area of hopes and dreams. And so you'll feel that this is a great time where the moon is illuminating this area of your chart. That the 11th house is also you spending time with your friends. So a great time to get together, have a potluck and catch up with one another. If you're thinking of starting up with any new group or organization, well, this full moon can bring to you the right place, the right time, that synchronicity of meeting up with that which will attach you or attract you to those hopes and dreams. So it's a good month, September, for you, I feel, here in Gemini, and it's all setting you up for what you can expect there in October. Maybe you have already listened to your horoscopes for this month, and if not, I suggest that you do, because it's different information, but information that is really important to listen to anyway, because it comes in from a different dimension than the astrology. But the tarot and astrology work so well together, and that's why it's been my favorite tools for the last 35 years, and use them daily, both of them. So do go listen to it if you haven't, and as always, listen to your moon, your rising sign, and that of your partner to see what's going on with him or her this coming month. And I'll see you in October. Bye now.